Welcome everyone, I'm Panda here. This should be an exciting match in the Join Dota League between Next.KZ and HeHe. This should be a really nice match, as they have played before, with Next.KZ taking a pretty decent victory. And right now we are going to have a very interesting lineup here coming out from Next.KZ. Slark running out on the bottom lane. Rubick likely to be supporting him up. Alchemist going to be the other support. Puck in the mid lane. And Nature's Prophet running that off lane roaming position. This should be real exciting as we're going to have an aggressive tri-lane coming out. Naga Siren looking to carry up this bottom lane. Dazzle and Crystal Maden supporting her. Death Prophet in the mid lane. And Clockwork covering the off lane. Very excited to see an aggressive tri-lane with a carry Naga Siren. I haven't seen many Naga Sirens lately, though she has been growing in popularity. The one or two I have seen have done incredibly well. They pick up early Radiances and basically just go for the split push throughout most of the game. They really just constrict the map. And against the Nature's Prophet, that's hard to do, but certainly possible, as Rubick takes the first big objective of the game, taking out a ward on the high ground. Making sure that they get all the vision they need, and that if the rune spawns bottom, and it does, they will be able to pick it up. So Rubick, with an illusion rune, should be able to actually jungle a little bit if he so chooses to wait around and do that. You can easily use the illusions to kind of deal some extra damage and tank a bit for you. In the mid lane, Death Prophet versus the Puck is a fairly even matchup. It goes slightly in Puck's favor. He has a bit more damage. He can dodge the Crypt Swarm if he gets a level up in that phase shift early, but I don't expect to see a whole lot other than farming out of that lane. Same thing with the top. Nature's Prophet's a bit stronger, but Clockwork still does a good job. Bottom lane is where we're going to see most of the action. Naga Siren versus Slark. I have to favor Naga Siren slightly, but Slark has a lot more damage in the first few levels. But Naga Siren will start to pull ahead once she starts to get going. And the fact that Slark has to wait for his teammates who are pulling is going to be a real detriment for those first few levels, at least until the supports can come in with the bonus experience after having picked up at least a level or two from the pulls on the side, though it looks like the pulls are going to be pretty well contested as Alchemist goes for the double pull, but Naga Siren's here to steal up the minions and take a bunch of extra experience. Very well played by HeHe, as they do a good job of just pulling that minion wave around, forcing Slark to hit last it under the tower and not really deny that many minions. They lost one... No, I don't think they even lost a minion to the pull camp, because they did a pull without stacking. So the minions don't really take that much damage. And that means Naga Siren gets full reign of these creeps. And at 6-0, she is the top farmer after the first wave or so. And she's really going to be applying pressure to Slark, because Slark does not have the ability to stand toe-to-toe with Naga at this point. She's sitting at 6 armor. And to Slark's 2. Wars were dewarded on the side of HeHe, as Next.KZ is going to be forced to burn yet another ward in order to clear them out. But Rubick has picked up the haste. The question is, will he go to the mid lane or go to the bottom lane with it? And it looks like bottom lane it is. Going to try and apply a little bit of pressure to at least the Dazzle, who has hit level 2. Hasn't skilled anything yet, which is a very smart thing from him at this point. You really don't need to put those points until you actually have to use them, because he's not sure how this lane is going to go, and this lane could go either way. Another non-stacked pull here coming out from Next.KZ. A little bit of a risky play as it finally gets a ward on it, but they don't lose any minions, and they pick up some bonus experience. So well played by HeHe. Excellent way to pick up some extra experience. Just go contest the pulls. They don't have much at this point. Level 1 Rubick, level 1 Alchemist versus level 2 on, or level 3 on the Naga and level 2 on the Dazzle. Dazzle and Naga just are amazing at those first few levels, and they can't beat them on the level 1 supports. Instead, they're going to rotate in the mid lane. Rubick and Alchemist here, but Death Prophet knows something's up, and she's playing it very safe. She hasn't gotten that many last hits, so she's only sitting at 6 compared to Puck's 13 and 6, so he's dominating this lane. But she's playing it safe, not getting any deaths, and I think they'll be happy with that overall, considering they're doing a good job in the bottom lane, and their off lane's doing okay, but Next.KZ definitely off to the better start overall. And it's just been a really good early game for Next.KZ is they need an early game at this point. Slark needs to snowball away. Same thing with Nature's Prophet and Puck. They're all really good snowball heroes. And so far they're in position to snowball incredibly well. Supports have rotated up top as Alchemist and the Rubick are going to be waiting to try and pick off this Clockwork. Should be a fairly easy kill if Clockwork overextends himself. They did not see it as there are no wards anywhere along the river. Clockwork just going to continue to throw out those flares for last hits, which is not a terrible idea at this point. Just use what you can, get a little bit of farming experience. You're on par with the Slark at this point. And I definitely think Slark's more important, but there's the root lift up. Easy kill onto the Clockwork, but he does do a good job of just trapping in the Nature's Prophet. Crystal Maiden is here, and they will turn it around. Meaning Clockwork picks up a kill, and Crystal Maiden as well, finishing off the Rubick. Well done. Big mistake by Rubick, throwing the Clockwork right onto the Nature's Prophet, who's at about half health. And that's a huge turnaround, and exactly what the dire side needed. Bottom lane, while this is going on, Slark out of consumables already, as he's been harassed to death by the Naga Siren. She's just way too strong in those first few levels. She walks up, uses that Riptide, and basically removes all the armor from Slark, and he just can't go one-on-one in that situation. Naga's early armor is just too powerful. Even though Slark has more damage for those first few levels, it's starting to even out thanks to the extra agility that Naga gets. She will be able to do a little bit of damage as she does throw out the net, but not enough to really get anything going. And so far, this is exactly what you want if you're on the dire side of HeHe. You pick up some early kills. Your lanes are doing decently. And if this goes late, I have to favor Naga Siren over any of the carriers on Next.KZ. I don't think Slark can deal with the illusion spam and the split push. And the split push from Naga Siren should at least keep Nature's Prophet in check, where a lot of teams don't have a character that can kind of split push without being there. Naga in a lot of trouble. As she is hit up, takes a lot of damage, but that weave just turns the fight around. There's Nature's Prophet coming in. Huge damages. Puck is here as well. Dream Coil for some major damage. Beautifully played. And you can't ask for a better fight than that. Takes 3 down for nothing. Now, you spend a lot of time rotating, but whoop-de-doo on that. Take the 3 kills, especially on the hard farmer in the Naga Siren. And Nature's Prophet picked up a kill as well. You're going to give away a lot of farm during this, but it's completely worth it. Next.KZ taking the kill lead. And that was just an amazing rotation overall. And that's exactly what Next.KZ needed to counteract that little bit of a loss at the top lane a few moments ago. It also gives Slark some much needed levels, as he's almost 7. And that's exactly where you want him to be. He's up in a lead. He didn't pick up any kills, but he didn't really need to. He picked up all those assists. The experience is what's important. He now has his ultimate. And you can't kill him nearly as easy. You can't harass him down. And you really need to stop Slark from farming those first few levels. And they did a decent job, but it's just not enough, as Puck is poised to dominate this map. Taking a look at the graphs, as I don't think any of the lanes are going to be in trouble anytime soon. There was a pretty big lead after taking the first blood at about 750 gold, and it has brought back. As there might be an engagement in the bottom lane in just a moment, as both teams are grouping up for it. They've brought all 3 back. Crystal Maiden actually went and farmed the jungle for a few moments, just to pick up a little bit of extra levels. Sentry Ward here will be spotted out as soon as they rotate up, and it looks like they will see it pretty quickly and just take it out. And it's actually denied by the Crystal Maiden. Good play. Slark going to jump in on the Naga Siren. Naga Siren not 6 yet. But Dazzle's going to get picked up. Takes a lot of damage. Does get a decent weave off. Pops the Shallow Grave. But they are able to kill the Naga Siren. And they're going to be able to kill the Dazzle as well. Puck rotated in yet again. And this Puck is doing work this game. Nature's Prophet as well rotating in. And that's level 8 on the Nature's Prophet. 8 on Puck. And I don't foresee anyone on this side of HeHe getting anywhere close to them anytime soon. As this tower is going to be taken very low thanks to the Death Prophet ultimate, but it is not enough, and they might be trading it for the bottom tower, as they have a full wave of treants. They got the range minions safe and sound, and they have the acid spray to zone out the enemy. As Alchemist works towards that Medallion of Courage, Slark likely going to be picking up an Orchid from the looks of his items. Just an early Orchid, give him that extra mana, give him that ability to roam, and give him some true crowd control. As if you throw the Orchid on the Naga Siren, she can't pop her song, and you can possibly kill her and stop the engagement from being disengaged. Crystal Maiden going to do the smart thing and just pull the jungle. Stack up that ancient camp, let Death Prophet or Naga Siren come in there later. And first tower of the game is denied by Naga Siren, but still a very big lead for Next.KZ as they took several kills and got that tower, even though it was denied. Still 1,500 gold at 9 minutes, very healthy, and 1,000 experience, incredibly good as well. It's not amazing, but it's exactly what you want to see out of a team that really needs to get going in this early game. And the bigger thing from this is they've put a lot of pressure on Naga. She's not farming particularly well after those deaths. She's had 2 already. She is the highest farmer, but she could have been much higher. Nature's Prophet has picked up the Midas. And this is getting really grim for the Dire side. Slark level 8 on his way very quickly to that Orchid, as he's already picked up one of the Oblivion staffs. Naga Siren had to go for Arcane Boots instead of picking up the more usual Phase Boots so she can run through. She definitely just wants to get that mana for the bottom lane. And that's where the Crystal Maiden, as Clockwork up top, going to be jumping in on Nature's Prophet, but the Treant's just too strong, but does get the hook and will be able to pick up the solo kill. Clockwork doing an amazing job of waiting on that hook. And that's an early mech, and that could be the turnaround that the Dire side of HeHe needed. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage to this bottom tower as well, as Death Prophet has rotated in. And they have a glyph available on the Radiant side, but choose not to use it. A smart decision, as there is no way to contest that. There are 4 people down bottom. And after that, the gold should be pretty close to even, as they actually got the tower instead of getting it denied. Excellent move here by Death Prophet to check the jungle and gets the 2 big creeps, the important ones. Naga Siren might be caught out. Dream Coil is popped, but Song is there, and she is perfectly safe. Alchemist did hit himself with a stun in the jungle, which is why his health is so low. Clockwork going to be jumping out on Nature's Prophet again, but I don't think Nature's Prophet's going to have a good time. As Puck does come in, it's not enough as Clockwork picks up a kill. I don't think Puck has the damage to kill Clockwork, as the minions have just tanked pretty much all the tower shots, and there's Dazzle. Dazzle does throw out a bit of a slow, but Puck dodges it. The Poison Touch, not particularly effective against Puck anyways, but it's just one of those things. You have to waste the time to dodge it with your phase shift, so you don't get anywhere closer to the enemy. And this is what the Dire team needed to make that comeback, and Puck has blinked away. He does show off that blink dagger that he just picked up, but this should be another tower in favor of HeHe and the Dire. They pop the fortification and try and get in there. Rubick with a nice Fade Bolt, but he is going to be in a bit of trouble. The minions are kind of blocking him in. If he can run away if he wants to, but instead he's going to be just fine, and they do go for the tower instead of trying to chase Rubick. It was just the Naga Siren chasing him. Well, Death Prophet made sure she got that extra bit. All this is going on. Slark in a lot of trouble as he tries to split push. He's going to be able to do a decent job of running away, and thanks to his passive, he should be just fine. Heard the Clockwork Flare, but I don't think it's going to do nearly enough damage. And Slark did a good job of pressing this bottom tower. It didn't take a whole lot of damage, but he forced several teleports out, and that's a bit of gold that you waste by having to teleport 2 carries down to that bottom lane. Next.KZ working on pulling some Ancients, as Alchemist has hit level 4, picked up that medallion. Nature's Prophet with the Hand of Midas, as both teams rotating around, trying to find a bit of farm in this middle lane. And I think this is the right decision by the Dire side. They need to just group up as 3 to 4 and start kind of forcing objectives or applying a pressure on this map. That'll give Naga Siren the chance to farm up, pick up either a Radiance or Diffusal Blade, whichever he so chooses. And at this point, it might be better to just go Diffusal Blade. Radiance is a long way off at this point, but it's still a long ways to go. She does not have much gold. has to go for very early game items. And if they can just get her to split push, get all that free farm, especially in a few seconds once her song's back up, she'll be perfectly fine and be in great shape to progress towards the late game. As I feel she is the strongest carry in this game. Slark is good. Same thing with Nature's Prophet and Puck. They're all good in terms of carry potential, but they're just not enough as Clockwork rotates in, and that should be a very dead Slark if he realizes it. And there we go. Does get the cogs down, and he can't leap out, as that's one of the new kind of changes, and Clockwork did do a good job as well, just kind of blocking the only real viable escape path. Nature's Prophet going to go back to split pushing up with Puck, and I don't think there's going to be any really good defense. Death Prophet is here. Same thing with Crystal Maiden, but that's not who you want to have defending a lane. You really want to have a better composition to defend, especially with the Alchemist and Rubick coming up in the Veil of Smoke. Good play here by the Nature's Prophet. Leave that tree kind of out there. See anyone rotating in, and I believe it caught the tail end of Clockwork. And yeah, Clockwork will definitely show himself. It's a big deterrent. Puck going to go in and does get the kill on the Crystal Maiden and will be able to teleport out. But he's going to pay for it as Clockwork hooks in. Does a lot of damage but gets thrown out. And Puck, I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this alive. And that's a good trade for the Dire side as Death Prophet picks up yet another kill. She's just going to run into the tower and tell her spirits to go to town. They have the Clockwork illusion to tank it up. So this is going to be a very easy tower. That is perfectly played. Mid lane, Slark trying to split push, but Clockwork is here doing a lot of work today as Slark just does not have the HP. He's going for a Shadow Blade after starting that Orchid, and it's just not working out. He doesn't have the HP to really do a whole lot in these fights. Feels like the second he gets engaged on, he has to run away. He hasn't had to pop the ultimate though, which is a good thing, as that shows he has enough to survive that kind of initial burst. But he can't retaliate or even try and contest any of the times he's been engaged on. And it's just been miserable for him. He's gotten a lot of farm, considering his team's been fighting, but he's only picked up 1 kill. His net worth is not particularly good, and he's not on his way to anything anytime soon. He'll have the Shadow Blade up in a little bit, but you really want that Shadow Blade up earlier. I feel if he went for that instead of the straight Orchid, he'd be in much better position, as the Dire side decide to go in there and go for Roche. They have the ability to do it. They have a medallion up. They can easily cast a defensive weave and make sure that none of their characters take any real damage. And I don't think anyone on Next.KZ realizes that they're in Roche. Alchemist Puck all the way up top. No real way to get there quick enough. They don't even have a smoke for the bonus movement speed. Slark and Rubick just kind of farming their jungle, and Nature's Prophet trying to split push a bit. So this is going to be a very free Roshan, even if it is incredibly slow. Treant does spot it out, but to no avail, as they don't have the ability to jump in on it. They could try, but Naga trying to steal a Roshan from a Naga Siren is one of the stupidest ideas you could possibly have, unless you know her song is down. As she could easily just pop the song, charge in, and easily take the Aegis. And that's one of the big factors when picking a Naga Siren, especially in the carry role. You have to realize pretty much all objectives she can take whenever she wants. You just throw out the song, kind of set it up for it, especially with characters like Clockwork. Just get a really nice setup, and you can win fights, you can steal objectives like the Roshan or towers pretty easily. And that's one of the big reasons why Naga Siren's picked up. Though Slark going to take his chances at jumping in on her. She does pop the mirror images, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Though they don't have a way to stop her, she's just going to teleport out. Excellent decision to realize that he does not have enough damage. He's already burned his Pounce. Pounce is on a fairly long cooldown. It's 8 seconds, so it's more than long enough. Is Puck in a bit of trouble? Question is, will he be able to get out? And he does not, as he does not get the Blink Dagger to go off cooldown. Just constantly being harassed. Excellently played. And this Puck starting off so well has fallen hard. He just hasn't had the ability to run around and get kills, as the Dire side has just constantly been pressuring them and making sure that they don't get anywhere on the map. Every time that Next.KZ tries something, it seems like 2 or 3 members of HeHe have just walked up and punished them for being a little bit out of position. And here comes the ultimate from the Death Prophet. They have the siege minion here, so it's going to be very hard to stop. As usual, you can pull the creep wave and do a good bit to prevent the Death Prophet ultimate from damaging the tower. But in this case, you can't really pull the wave because there was the catapult there. And she had full backup. Just like this. You pull the creep wave. If it goes down far enough, the backdoor regeneration will kick in a few moments. And it makes it really hard for her to push. Defensive weave thrown out as Nature's Prophet tries to go in, but they saw the defensive weave. And fighting into people with 10-15 armor, not a great idea. Even Crystal Maiden at this point, almost up to the full 20 armor. Over 50% physical reduction. And it's just incredibly hard to push into that. While all this is going on, Nature's Prophet's going to be pushing the mid lane. Naga Siren getting almost free farm in the bottom lanes. Picked up her Yasha. On her way to a Manta style eventually. Don't think she'll buy it anytime soon. It's just one of those great items to pick up and basically say, I'm going to hold on to it for 15-20 minutes. Clockwork throws out of the hook and lands directly on Nature's Prophet, who's gone for that Necrobook. An easy kill is Clockwork being the star of the show. Slark does pounce on him, but the weave comes out, and there's no way you're killing Clockwork with this much armor. Slark going to try and do at least a little bit of damage, but he's now in the negatives in terms of armor, and ouch does he take a lot of damage. Jewel Scepter shown off by the Death Prophet, and it's not enough. Dazzle in a lot of troubles. He does take a full brunt of that concoction, but it's not enough, as he does pop Shadow Grave very preemptively, but in a good time as well. And that is the Aghanim Scepter for Clockwork, perfectly on time, as he'll have the hook up in just a few moments, and he'll be really showing it off, as he's done a great job of using it constantly. It feels like after that initial fight or two down bottom, every single time he's had his hook up, he's used it on someone like the Nature's Prophet or Slark and just ensured kills and ensured a lot of space for the rest of the team. Slark has finished off that Shadow Blade as he works towards his Orchid in order to shut down the Naga Siren or the Death Prophet. But I'm not sure it's going to be in time, as this is a very big push here by HeHe, as they really want this middle turret. They've got the ultimate by Death Prophet, they have a catapult minion, and no way the minion wave is going to get pulled as Naga Siren throws out her minions and just obliterates the wave. Clockwork going in deep, he has the Aegis, and that's an easy kill on the Alchemist, as Clockwork is going to be just dominating this game. Nature's Prophet does pick up a tower, but they lose the tier 2. Clockwork throws out a hook again and almost kills Puck as he's sitting at negative 10 armor and counting. And you just can't fight particularly well when you're sitting at that low armor. And every single time you try and fight, Clockwork gets another good hook. He has enough mana for another combo if he wants to throw it out. And he does scout the Nature's Prophet, but off the mark. First hook he's missed in a long time. Naga Siren in a bit of trouble, but she has her ultimate if she needs it. She does get stunned up for a few seconds, but it's not that much. We've used defensively, and that means Naga Siren's going to be able to get away just fine. She is silenced up thanks to that newly purchased Orchid, and does go down. Crystal Maiden gets a decent ultimate off, but this is a huge loss for HeHe, as they will pick up Slark, but it is not enough. Death Prophet will go down eventually to Puck. They lost all 5. Or will it, but Clockwork actually coming back with the Aegis, doing a lot of damage onto this Puck. Puck just not able to get going. He did pick up the Dagon and showed it off in that last fight, but it has not been enough. Clockwork in a lot of trouble. Don't think he's getting out of here unless he can just hook a minion. And that might be what he wants to do. He just throws out the hook and tries to get a kill, but that's a full wipe. He did do a great job of buying time, though, so that nothing was really gained other than the gold from the kills. And after that, we'll have to take a quick look at our charts, as he is down to about 5,000 in terms of gold lead, about 5,000 in terms of experience. And that's definitely a fight they need to take. That'll provide a lot of extra room for the Nature's Prophet in order to push around the map and really get going on a split push. He's up to Necronomicon level 2. And that's where he wants to go. Continue up the Necronomicon, continue to split push. As they don't have a great set of engagement on Next.KZ, they really want to try and find these 2- and 3-man engagements, because they can win those fights without question. But taking a full 5-man fight with a Death Prophet And a Naga Siren, not the best idea, as Death Prophet is level 14. She's picked up the Yule, is about to have a BKB. And she's in a great position to just push down this middle turret next time it's up. And it looks like it wasn't the Orchid actually finished on Slark. It was Rubick stealing the silence. And Puck having a good silence as well. Smoke has been popped as Clockwork, or there was a hook. But Siren has been used as only one goes down. And the Necronomicon Warrior is just doing work on this Dazzle. Death Prophet actually kills the Nature's Prophet in the back line. But you can't run right into the Death Prophet like this. Those spirits hurt way too much. Next.KZ getting greedy as Death Prophet dominates this fight. And those spirits continue to go to town on Puck. As Puck does get silenced, and there's the hook. And beautifully played. As that fight was a huge win after their last disappointment. As Next.KZ is in a world of trouble. They have to start buying back on supports who are already pretty poor. This is not looking good. What other buybacks do they have? And they don't have any. I don't see a good way to defend this tower. You have Slark, Alchemist, Rubick for another few seconds, and this tower is going to go down. I fully expect them to back away. Don't think they're going to go too heavily into this Rax. As soon as they see Nature's Prophet back up and going, they'll probably just back up. But they're not. They're going to continue to play incredibly risky. This is what got them in trouble last time. They just stayed too long. But now they see the Slark, they see Nature's Prophet back up. They see Puck respawning in just a moment. Now they know, run, run, run. We've done all we could. They did decent damage to the Rain's Rax, took it down about a quarter. Nature's Prophet going to go back to split pushing up top. His presence has not been felt significantly in this game. There have only been 2 towers lost on the side of the Dire, and he's not been a significant part of either one. He did do decent work to the top tower, same with the bottom tower, but it's not enough to really warrant the Nature's Prophet pick at this point. At 25 minutes as a Nature's Prophet, you really want to be hammering in these tier 2 towers, which are still in good shape, and there's no way for him to really backdoor him. He doesn't have a great backdoor kind of lineup just yet. He really needs that Desolator to go on top. Death Prophet pops the BKB rather early, as the Alchemist might stun himself as he can't get back in range. Takes a lot of damage with that middle Rax falling quickly. Clockwork does get a hook, but it's only on the Necro minion. Death Prophet actually pops it with his spirits. Slark is jumping in there with Puck, and Puck does do some good damage, takes out the Naga Siren. Slark in a lot of trouble as he tries to fight up against the Death Prophet, and that's a big no-no. You just can't fight up against Death Prophet with her full amount of spirits, especially when there's no minions there. But this should keep them out of the fight. Except that Naga Siren bought back and is good to go. We'll take a look. Slark does not have buyback. Looks like there was a hook, but it was not on the mark. As Clockwork did throw it out just to kind of escape. And both sides are going to back up as Clockwork goes to push up. Blink in there by Puck. Some decent damage on the Crystal Maiden, and he does go down. Good kill. And this is why Dagon has been a real popular item lately on characters like Puck. They really don't have the damage to take it into the mid to late game. But if you pick up Dagon and eventually into that E-Blade, you have enough that you're really a factor. He doesn't need the CC. He's got Rubick. He's got Alchemist. Even Slark and Nature's Prophet will bring a bit of crowd control. So he doesn't need that early Hex. Just go pick up the early Dagon and just start bursting people down. Middle tower in a bit of trouble, but I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon. Death Prophet's there with that Crypt Swarm, easily able to just push out the minion waves. Rubick did steal the Crypt Swarm in that fight, and it's going to be an excellent tool to just keep the push or counter push going. As so far, Next.KZ has done an excellent job of surviving and not letting a Rax go down. They've also greatly hurt the farm of the Naga Siren, as she is third. And she does now finish up that Manta style. Going for a very early Manta. Surprised she didn't go for Diffusal or Radiance, as that is a traditional build. And it's very good for split pushing and pushing down towers. Clockwork going to fire his flare up top, as there's no way for the Radiant side to even fight this. And that's going to be Nature's Prophet taking down this top tower. But in exchange for Roshan, I think it's definitely worth it. Slark going to be trying to push this bottom tower, and he might do some decent damage to it. But top tower doesn't go down, as Clockwork came up top trying to get a hook in, but beautiful block by that archer, but not enough as Clockwork in a lot of trouble. He does get a good set of cogs down, but he definitely has to run here, and he will be trading his life away. As the Dagon comes out, Slark just managed to pop the ultimate and run away. Naga Siren pops the ultimate, trying to catch him, but just way too late. And the top tower does go down, bottom tower as well. I'd call that a small win for Next.KZ. They still have to deal with the Death Prophet, who has a BKB and doing so much damage. It's ridiculous how much he's doing as the Alchemist got caught out. And there is no way he can buy back at this point. He had to buy back for an earlier fight, and that's going to be the Ranger Axe. Possibly the melee racks pretty soon as well as Death Prophet gets jumped in on. But Slark just can't go in there and fight. That medallion doing so much work. There's the shallow grave, meaning the Death Prophet's going to be just fine if she heals up with her spirits. And that's going to be a melee racks already. Puck going to try and get in there and burst down Naga, but no Dagon online just yet. A few seconds off. Naga Siren's still very low, but has the Aegis, so she's perfectly fine. And HeHe take the first set of racks. His Nature's Prophet very low and will survive with about 150 HP left. Puck on the back end finishes off Dazzle, but trades his own life as he can't do anything when he's netted up. Through all this, top tower did take a good bit of damage. And that's exactly what Next.KZ needed to do, but they didn't do it hard enough. They almost needed to just sacrifice the racks and make sure that they can get towers. They have to start getting split push with this Nature's Prophet. They've taken they've taken most of the outer towers. Only the middle lane remains. But that's not enough. You have to start pressuring these tier 3 racks and force someone back. Because there was no reason for the Dire side to leave that fight. They could have stayed there if they wanted to. They've gotten enough kills. And they took the racks without any real trade-off. They lost a few characters, but that doesn't really matter at this point. It was a slight win because, in terms of actual gold exchanged, as it is the Dire side with about a 7,500 gold lead, 7,500 experience as well, and now we're going to see a bit of a push towards this mid lane. As Next.KZ is starting to get desperate, they just don't have the ability to really get going at this point. Puck has picked up another set of Dagons up to level 4, meaning a ton of damage. And this bottom tower is going to be pushed in very quickly. Question is, will they try and trade on the side of Next.KZ? And if this was the first racks, I think you could trade it. But considering this is the second, I don't think you can make that trade. They do have fortification for a few seconds as Death Prophet takes a lot of damage. But it's just not enough. Nature's Prophet not pushing fast enough in the top lane. Doesn't have any real way to push particularly quickly. BKB popped by Death Prophets, so this tower likely to go down. Fortification was already popped, and that means another rack's likely to go down. The split push not good enough on the side of Next.KZ so far. Clockwork doing the smart thing, just hopping in. Puck does kill the Crystal Maiden on the back line, but she buys back right away, and this melee rack just continually gets lower. Naga Siren will go down in just a moment, but that's the Aegis popped. And with just the Aegis, Nature's Prophet comes in on the back line. Clockwork in a lot of trouble, is able to force staff himself away. And the Naga Siren ultimate is there. They're trying to do some good damages. Nature's Prophet in a lot of trouble, and he will actually live. Rubick actually stole the Naga Siren ultimate, and it's allowing his team to reset the fight. Well done on Rubick. But it's still not enough. Death Prophet still doing damage, and they're going to lose a melee racks. No trade, as it almost felt like they sacrificed the Crystal Maiden in the early game to just go and take top and make sure that that tower doesn't get pushed down. And that's 2 racks. As Death Prophet continues to run away, Slark does get a good pounce, and that will be her life. But she's going to make it a pain in the rear first, as that shallow grave did a lot of work. And just harassing down. They do lose Slark, but it's going to be pretty much a team wipe at this point unless Naga Siren can stay alive. But she does not. Though mission accomplished on the Dire side of HeHe. Picking up both of the bottom racks. Taking the mid racks in the previous engagement. And Crystal Maiden made sure that this top racks doesn't get pushed down. And not even the tier 3 tower taken. As the Nature's Prophet went for more of a battle build. With the 4-staff Necronomicon. And working his way to the Scythe of Ice. It just hasn't worked out. He really needed to be able to split push this game. But just has not found the opportunity. And there's still a tier 2 left at 33 minutes. And for Nature's Prophet on your team, that's not particularly good. You want to have all these towers out for extra space. You want to be taking down these tier 3s where only one is even hurt. And he just is not doing particularly well overall. Nature's Prophet jumps in, does some good damage, but Clockwork trying to get in, but just can't at this point. And he tries to go in again, but I don't think Nature's Prophet's getting out of this. He uses the Force Staff, but there's another hook, and that's a dead Nature's Prophet. Puck does come up and do some good damage and kill the Crystal Maiden. And actually, we are going to see Nature's Prophet get out of there safely. Really surprised he was able to do so, but there's another hook and a dead Nature's Prophet. Death Prophet picking up that kill. She has her full Necronomicon, got the drums up, and even the Yules. She does do a whole lot of damage. Naga did pick up a Diffusal Blade, meaning she's finally starting to get some much needed damage. Puck dodges the hook. And he should be able to get out just fine. Still a few seconds left. The silence not enough to stop it. Rubick has finished off the Force Staff and still has the Song. Incredibly useful for the next fight. Alchemist working towards that Assault Cuirass and almost has it picked up. If they can get that in a BKB on Slark, they might be able to turn this game around. But it's just incredibly difficult down 2 racks. You just have to play so carefully. And with the final outer turret going down, there's not a lot they can do, but Dazzle gets bursted down. Excellent play by Puck, but Puck is caught. And he does lose a lot of his mana. He is going to go down for it, and that's not a trade you can take easily. Alchemist does get a good stun off, but it's not where anyone can follow up. Slark in a lot of trouble. Question is, will the Naga Siren throw the ultimate to set up? But she doesn't need it as Rubick does jump in. Picks up the spears, but instantly killed. The Death Prophet showing why she is named as such. Just using all those spirits to bring in death. And there is nothing that's really going to be affecting her at this point. As she's basically going to rip Slark a new one the second he comes out of that sleep. And he does actually get away with a Shadow Blade. Really surprised they didn't have dust or anything on them for it. But I don't think they care too much, as they'll be just fine with taking that Rex. Naga Siren gets bursted out in the back. But it's going to be Clockwork up next, and they might be able to defend this Rax. 200 health left on it, but Death Prophet's still here. Crystal Maiden gets a good ultimate off. Slark had to buy back, and that will be the last melee Rax going down. Death Prophet likely to trade her life for it. As she does go down, but I'd almost say mission accomplished. I'd almost say mission accomplished. There's still a ranged Rax left. And that one ranged Rax is the whole difference between mega creeps and basically Next.KZ GGing it out. HeHe on the dire side has done an excellent job of just pushing with the Death Prophet. She's done so incredibly well of staying alive in these fights. Take a quick look at the items before we have what should be our last engagement, unless Next.KZ can take another win. Max level Dagon up on Puck, likely can be working towards an E-Blade. Shadow Blade, Orchid up on to Slark. Nature's Prophet still not finished off that Scythe of Ice. And Necro books aplenty coming out from the dire side. Slark going to be jumping in, but not finding anyone. Puck taken low. And there's Naga Siren. Puck not able to actually jump in. He actually jumps in trying to pick off Dazzle. But that's not what you want to see your Puck doing, jumping this deep. Especially with Clockwork in the area. And Clockwork misses just off the mark. Good stall tactic though, but not going to be good enough as Naga Siren comes in with the song. And they're going to be able to likely take them down. Yeah, there we go. It was a decent stall tactic and it almost picked up. And that's a Divine Rapier picked up by the Nature's Prophet. That's the real big damage item he needed. He had to sell his Midas for it. So this is going to be all in at this point. They're going for Roshan, and it's going down pretty quickly. As Nature's Prophet does pick up the Aegis, so they have an opportunity to make a comeback. That's a lot of damage on the Nature's Prophet. He has the... And problem is, Boots of Travel plus Death Prophet ultimate means a dead Rax. Rubick had to buy back. Puck's still down, and he does not have buyback for another 2 Almost 3 minutes. But Death Prophet doesn't have her ultimate for another minute or so. So it might be long enough, but I don't think they're going to wait. They're just going to rush in there and go for the win. Slark in a lot of troubles. He is going to be picked off. I don't see... There is a force staff to keep him away. And Death Prophet, or Nature's Prophet, now picking up Mask of Madness, going full ham at this point. But I don't think it's going to be enough, as Mega Creeps are just too strong. Clockwork a little early on the hook, but Nature's Prophet just gets wrecked as he had the Mask of Madness up. And there's just too much damage, and you can't kill anyone through that shallow grave. And that's everyone but the Nature's Prophet dead. He's got the Rapier, he's got Aegis, he's got a Mask of Madness, but it is not enough. As basically, HeHe and the Dire side dominated the game of tower pushing. And if you can't win the tower push game, you're not in good enough shape to win the game overall. Because buildings are the only thing that truly matter, and Naga Siren will be able to finish off this Ancient, more than likely. She's got a ton of armor, and all those minions hitting it. Mega Creeps doing a great job. Beautifully played by HeHe. Next.KZ just not getting enough out of their split push game, and their carries just were not strong enough overall to really take this. Well played by the Death Prophet and Clockwork, doing their job as solos of really carrying, and a little bit from chat, making sure that Crystal Maiden does not live very long. She got bursted down pretty much every opportunity with that Dagon from Puck. He played well, but just not enough. Same with Nature's Prophet. They played well, but they just did not get that split push going. And the Dire side of HeHe took it fairly easily in about a 40-minute game. Thank you for watching this game cast by Pander.